Hello and welcome to Heart's Home, the podcast. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel, and I'm so grateful for your presence here. This podcast is all about exploring the beautiful synergy between science and spirituality, where we embrace both the woo and the wonder. In this space, we'll delve into the fascinating intersection of evidence-based science and profound spiritual insights. From solo episodes where I dive deep into concepts and practices, to inspiring conversations with other soul beings, thought leaders, and experts, and even guided breathwork journeys and meditations, and Reiki healing sessions to nourish your mind, body, and soul. This podcast is your go-to source for an holistic approach to wellness. Join me as we embark on a journey to explore how these seemingly different realms can come together to create a holistic understanding of ourselves, our world, and our place in the universe. Get ready to dive into intriguing conversations, uncover new perspectives, and unlock the potential of blending science and spirituality in our modern lives. Let's open our minds, bridge the gap between the rational and the mystical, align our energies, and embark on this empowering and enlightening adventure together. So, grab your favorite beverage, find a cozy spot, and be ready to level up on this transformational journey of self-discovery as you connect with your true self, remember who you are, and align with the divine within, returning to and embodying the essence of Heart's Home. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Heart's Home. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel, and today I'm offering you a solo episode where I'm going to share about health, about wellness, and about my journey thus far this year and a little bit into the past. If you've tuned in before and listened to the first two episodes of the podcast, then you've probably heard my story. Or perhaps you've come to see me speak at an event or connected with me elsewhere and you've heard the story. Today, there's going to be some aspects where I dive a little deeper into some parts and share with you some of the bits along the way that have got me to where I am today. So, a lot of the time, I actually start my episodes with a little health update because that has been a lot of what my journey is. It's been a total journey of transformation. It's been a journey of self-discovery and self-love, reconnecting with myself. And a lot of that has come out of my, well, at first my desperation to be better and to get better and to feel better in my physical body and save my health. And so it's really interesting because I'm so grateful. I find myself here in this beautiful position where just about 3 weeks ago, I was meant to get surgery and I was going to have my right hip operated on. And, the night before, literally the night before, there was a phone call that I got that's from my doctor saying, I'm really sorry, but there's some complications with the whole situation and I can't do your surgery anymore. And I was, you know, oddly enough, kind of fine. I mean, I was a little upset, of course. I was like, oh gosh, what else can I do? And I was like trying to figure out all the things that I could do in order to make it happen. But there was like this deep trust that okay, if it's meant to happen tomorrow or this week, it will. And so I'll do all the steps that I can take and see how I can't make this happen and get it going, because at that time I was in an excruciating amount of pain. I mean, I still am, but my mindset has shifted over the last few weeks, and so my pain has shifted a significant amount, and it is reduced compared to then. Anyway, the what I wanted to like bring to the forefront here is that my level of trust in the universe and it always working out in my favor and always working out for my highest and greatest good, that trust is so, so strong that it allowed me to move through that whole situation with grace and ease. In the past, like, let's say a few years, yeah, even like 2 years ago, absolutely not. I would have been like, freaking out, panicking, going, woe is me, why is this all happening to me? But this time, while I did cry a little, because of course I was disappointed, and while I was just, I had like a moment, definitely it was like a moment of like, oh, why? Um, I knew ultimately things were working out for the best. So that brings me to today and where I am. In the past, it has been my mission to make myself feel better. It has been my mission to take radical responsibility for myself and for my health and my well being in order to be the best version of myself possible. I've had so many challenges along the way, and there's been so many pivotal moments and profound shifts in my life. And I know that making the conscious decision to prioritize my health and put myself first, even for me at first, was a hard one because there's such a popular opinion that we should put everything else before ourselves. However, if you've been sick, truly sick to the point where like you can't function in daily life, or if you've been injured, or if you've been down and out, whatever your version of not well is, if you've been there, then I know that you know that without your health, you have nothing. And this for me, this point right here, it makes me humbled. And it makes me, the universe brings me back to it oh too often to remind me I need to prioritize myself. I gotta put me first. I am looking out for me. Nobody else is. I mean, of course, other people are looking out for me and they've got my back, but not in the same level and regard that I've got my back, save for my mother and like, moms are always there for you. Thank you, mama. Um, but I am the one who's got my back. And so I have to put myself first and take myself into account before everything else and in every action that I take. And because I wasn't doing it again, the universe was like, all right, you're not listening. I'm going to show you. And thankfully, I noticed the pattern. So I think I've mentioned in previous episodes, and I'll say it here again, that I've been in some pretty terrible accidents in my life. And I've also had, I mean, car accidents. And I've also had some pretty terrible injuries. And when I was looking back at all of this, I realized that my really terrible injuries, and they were mostly like foot injuries and I guess back injuries, and now I guess okay, so there's been lots of them, but honestly, they have been like the foot injuries are the ones that I'm like, that's part of the pattern, that's part of the sign. They have always preceded the car accidents. Now, some might say this is coincidence, and probably I used to think it was coincidence too. But as I continue down my spiritual journey and this path and connecting the through line, this golden thread that weaves throughout my life that is like a trail of golden breadcrumbs. I actually understand that these were warnings. They were pretty loud warnings from the universe, trying to get me back on track, trying to get me to come to realization before I had to be down and out, before I had to hit a rock bottom or many rock bottoms. And that for me, realizing that pattern this time was crucial. Okay, so when I was on my holiday over the winter break, I went to Zanzibar with my sister from another mister. Natalie, I love you and I miss you. I was in the state of deciding what I would do with my relationship moving forward. And I had been in a relationship for a really, really long time, for 8.5 years. And there was so much love and so much good stuff in that. And I also kind of knew that it was time to move on. And I had kind of been ignoring those signs for a while. So the universe was showing me during that vacation just like different versions and visions of what life could be like and how things could be. And I was seeing those signs and I was recognizing and acknowledging them and like going, oh, okay, that's what these people do in life together. And that's what this could look like if my life was different, etc. And, I was like, I was going through the process of deciding what I would do with my life, and I injured my foot on this trip. I twisted my ankle dancing, or my foot. I rolled my foot dancing, and I did like some soft tissue damage to the outer edge of my right foot. And holy cow, did it hurt! Like I had to wear a brace for the rest of the trip. I probably did more damage than I actually would have admitted at the time. Uh, and it was very painful. Um, However, I made it through the vacation, still enjoying it, living my best life because that's how I do. And I got back to Kuwait and had got some more tending to it. Now, before my holiday probably is really when my hip pain started. Um, like the severe hip pain that I had. But it like had started and I was like, "Meh, I don't really think much of that. Okay, whatever." And that I would just like let it heal a little bit and then deal with it later. And I don't know exactly what I did. There was just a moment where I'm like, like a few like over a week where I was like, that doesn't feel regular anymore. So fast forward, I get back to Kuwait after my winter vacation and I'm limping because my foot hurts. My hip is now aching even more. And I just feel like when you, it was like when you don't have your health, you have nothing. That's what I felt like. And I was like, I am not well right now. I don't feel well. I don't, my foot hurts, my hip hurts, my body aches. And I was dealing with the end of my coming to terms that this relationship needed to be released. And so it, we released our relationship and parted ways. And I knew, though, that while that was part of the answer, now I had some damage to repair. And that was my body. And so, it's interesting because I don't know the exact day that I realized the pattern, but I was, I don't even know what I was doing, to be honest. Not necessary to say. But I was realizing that the pattern that had happened in my life was like I get in a bad accident when I don't listen to these signs from the universe. And often the universe had communicated to me through some kind of lower limb injury. I had broken my foot at one point because I wasn't listening to my gut instinct, and I can look back on it and go, I know exactly what I needed to listen to, and I didn't. I ignored it. And then I continued to ignore my health after that. I had hurt um, I rolled and torn, or not torn, but like really sprained ligaments in my leg at another point. And even then, I can look back and go, I know what that was telling me. And then there was another injury to my back just 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks before that terrible car accident I had been in here in Kuwait. And alhamdulillah, everybody was fine. I was fine enough. And I realized that like the universe was always trying to gently give me gently, shall we say, give me a nudge that like, hey, slow down, take care of you. You need to rest. Don't put your work first. Put yourself first. What are you doing with your life? Is this really what you want? All these things that I can look back now and go, hindsight's 2020, right? Um, and I just ignored myself for far too long. And so this time, when I had finally slowed down to reflect and take some time, because instead of rushing into the next thing when my relationship ended, I actually took like a whole month, 2 months almost, to not tend to other people as much as I totally would have in the past. I mean, I still went to work, I still started something for myself, but I didn't, it was like I wasn't filling up other people's cups. I was really focused on filling up mine. And in that time, no more accidents came, and I'm so grateful. And I realized that I had learned part of the lesson of like, I need to fill up my own cup first and reconnect with who I truly am, because that's that whole process that started me on this journey of helping others. When I remembered that when you truly love yourself, when you truly take care of yourself, and you pour into yourself every single day, and you are well for yourself, you remember who you are. You fall in love with yourself again. And so it was a reminder that I had some work to do, and it was time to fall in love with me again. And I did, honestly, I did. And I spent some time really only focused on myself, doing things only for me. Um, and then I didn't. Ah, me. Mm. I self-abandoned again a little bit. And I let my ego take over. And, she's a bit of a pain in my butt. That ego version of me, she is not the true and highest version of myself, but she comes out every once in a while and really tries to prove something. As we all have egos and as it all happens. Um, And I like I don't even know what I was trying to prove then. Like that I was better, that I was ready to take care of, like I don't know. But the universe was like, you haven't really learned your lesson. Let me help you out again by slowing you down. And I got sick. I got a fever, which like I don't get fevers hardly ever. I mean, once in a while I do, but I got that kind of sick, like a weird sick, and I was out for a few days. Like I literally couldn't get out of bed. I had to rest. And then I went on a vacation, I think, and that was lovely. And I came back and I brushed over that vacation. Give me 1 second. I went to Thailand. Nope. Words. I went to Iceland, and that was a vacation that I had been wanting to go on forever, and it was absolutely incredible. Um, shouldn't brush over it at all. It was one of the most fantastic vacations I've ever been on. If you've never been to Iceland, oh wow, it's like a different world there. And my mind was expanded and my heart was cracked open. And I made connections and I saw different versions of life. And it was so beautiful and so impactful. And it also showed me so much work, inner work that I had to do. I had a lot of shadow come up, I had a lot of triggers come up, and I learned. And then I also learned for myself that I have to really listen to my intuition and where my boundaries lie in terms of so many different things. That was a lesson that I learned for myself. And so I came back from that trip, and I swear I like walked through the door and my hip started hurting again. And I was like, what is this? Like that shooting pain that goes down my leg, this like crippling feeling. And I'm like, okay, universe, I hear you. I get it. Yes, what's out of alignment? I'm listening now. And so the pain continued for a while. And then I went to the doctors again because I had been going before the holiday. I'd been getting physiotherapy and all sorts of stuff. And I got another injection to try to help with the pain. Already gotten injections, and it was like, this is, it wasn't going away. It wasn't getting better. I was resting, I was being gentle, I wasn't doing any of the physical asana yoga. I was just being so chill. And now I can see there's so many of the other signs of the universe was testing me, putting things in my past, seeing if I was going to take a bite and try things that I had said and set boundaries for myself. And I wasn't listening again to myself, to my intuition, to what I needed for my life. Um, so enter feeling so desperate that I was like, okay, if surgery is the answer, yellow, let's go for it. I am okay with that. It will. And honestly, I was like, is this the universe's way of saying slow down, take time and rest? And if it really means like laying me up for 3 to 6 weeks, okay, fine, I'll listen. And in those 3 to 6 weeks, well, 3 weeks, because I was going to be taking 3 weeks off of my job. I promised myself that I would take concentrated time and just go inwards and have like a Vipassana retreat in my mind and in my heart and in my house. Um, that that's what I was going to do. Um, I don't know. I have to like spend some time thinking about if there was something that I did that allowed me to like dodge this surgery and like the universe was like, "Oh, maybe you have learned." And I have this like feeling right now that maybe part of it was like me just being able to commit to myself and say, "No, with 100% certainty, I'm not gonna waver on this, and those 3 weeks are gonna be for me to go inward and to like focus on myself." It could have been something as simple as like not letting that boundary waver, where the universe was like, okay, I'll save you then from this one. Um, mm, so I escaped, dodged that surgery, and my hip is actually still in pain, and my health is fine, sort of. And from that, okay, right. So here was the part that I knew that the universe was delivering me with grace because and this is and there's I'll figure out some of those bits later which led me to having this divine grace and guidance. If my hip surgery hadn't have been canceled, I would not have gone to another doctor at another hospital for a second opinion. And now I've had like a third and a fourth and a fifth opinion. And I would then not have found out from that doctor, that hip doctor who's a hip specialist, that the medicine that I had been taking for 2.5 years to help me with my autoimmune disease, the condition that I developed because I was living out of so much alignment, the medicine that I was taking is actually known to degenerate hip joints, particularly hip joints, and it shouldn't be taken for as long as I had been taking it. And like, here's me going, he's like, why have you been taking it for so long? And I'm like, because I trusted my doctor. I trusted that this is what I was supposed to do. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. And I was like, and he said, "Who's your rheumatologist? Are you going to the one at our hospital?" And I was like, "Note to self, they have one at this hospital. Go see him after." But I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm going to this other one." And So I left that appointment and immediately went up to the next to the floor where the rheumatologist was, and I was like, I need an appointment, please. And I got an appointment that day. Kuwait's very fast like this. And within an hour, I walked into the and the universe is so funny to me too, because within the hour, I walked into the office of my new rheumatologist. He's now my rheumatologist. And but on his appearance alone, the universe was giving me like a little wink and a nod, like, this is it. And I'm like, okay, because he had a man bun, and the universe has like literally been dropping me little hints in my life about my future partner that I've been manifesting. And like, one of the things that I write on my list is like really nice hair, maybe a man bun, like things like that. Um, Again, this is a superficial thing and it's absolutely not a necessary. It has some roots in why it's important to me, but it more so has to go back to um, like memories and fondness. But anyway, so this man has a man bun, and I was like, Ashley, you universe, okay. But this was the thing. I walked into his office. I told him a little bit about, like, said my name, talked to him for a minute, and told him just a brief thing about what was going on. And he asked me a couple questions, and then he said, have you ever experienced trauma in your life? This, I was shook. To put it plainly, I was shook. And I could have cried. Maybe I did cry. I don't know. And I said to him, you are the first doctor in my life who has ever asked me about trauma. And because you've asked me, it tells me that you're looking at me as a holistic human. And yeah, unfortunately, I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life, way more trauma than I would care to even like think about or bring up or admit. And it's been a lifetime of various traumas that I've realized actually within the last 6 months, I realized that I actually was experiencing and living out this trauma in my body for my lifetime. And it was showing up, it was manifesting in this physical form. And I had started only about 6 months ago doing trauma work for myself. Like, I had been learning about trauma work for a few years, but it didn't hit me that I had experienced so much of it until about 6 months ago. I just always thought like, okay, the car accident, that was traumatic, but not really because I moved through it kind of thing. But there was so much more, so many more layers to peel back. And so he asked me if I had experienced trauma in my life, and I said, yeah, a lot, a lot, a lot. And I know that this autoimmune disease, as well as these physical things that keep happening to me, are a manifestation of that trauma. And he was like, okay, well, let's look. And so that day, I didn't have all my blood work and stuff with me because I had been expecting to go meet a new doctor, a rheumatologist. So he was like, okay, well, come back when you with all your stuff and we'll have a look at it and we'll see what's going on because he said like the medicine you're on, we can work on ways to like get that out of your system and um, help you. And I was like, okay, great. So I went back the very next day. I was like, I am not wasting any time. I am getting in there. I need to get off this. And I knew I was like, that's the thing. I have to get off this medicine so that I'm not doing any more damage to my hip joint. I have to, um, like, I had just had some knowings of some things that like I had to do for my life. And I was like, as I left that office, I was like, thank you, universe. This was the reason why. That was the exact reason why I was not meant to get that hip surgery, so I could meet a doctor who was actually going to look at me as a holistic human and help me get better, not put a band-aid and medicate my symptoms and make it so that I can get through life on a daily basis. No, one who's actually going to be like, what's going on? Let's get to the root of the cause and resolve it as if, right? Like you'd think that's what all doctors do. But if we're not taking into account the Western and the Eastern knowledge, we are not taking in the whole picture. And if we don't look at every aspect of a person's life, we're not taking in a whole picture. That's why, like, even in the work that I do, I never say, like, you should do what I'm like Reiki and yoga and all this stuff instead of going to see a doctor. No, do them both. Get everything, get all the perspective, get all the opinions, and bring them together as a holistic approach that suits you, your very own thing that works for you. And I never say like my way and this one way and this one thing. No, I use all these tools, all these different methods, modalities, and I offer them to people to say like take what resonates and leave the rest behind. So I went back to the doctor the next day and brought the night before actually, I spent hours, and I'm talking like 3 hours, organizing all my medical files from the last 7 years. Yep, I stuffed them all in a drawer, so thankfully I had them. And I actually looked back in them. I organized them by date and year and all this stuff. And I realized that I actually started complaining of my hip hurting like 2 years ago, quite a while ago. And I was like, wow, even like I don't have a perception or a clear perception of when these symptoms got bad or when things started hurting because I was just sleepwalking, man. I was sleepwalking through my life. I was not fully present. And that's just the truth of it all. So now that I am conscious, now that I'm awake, now that I'm far more present in my day-to-day life, I could be like, okay, let's sort this out. So I went back to the doctor with all my stuff, and there's a lot of it, 7 years worth of stuff. And he looked at it all. He looked at each and everything, and he was like, and did you get tested again for this autoimmune thing? And et cetera, et cetera. And I hadn't. Actually, I hadn't been tested again since I had been initially diagnosed 2.5 years ago, or maybe a little bit more. And he was like, okay, well, the first thing we're going to do is retest you because sometimes the markers that I have can be deceiving. I definitely had infection and inflammation in my body, and the course of medicine and action that my original doctor had taken was correct for that time. It's just that since then, things have shifted and changed, and that hadn't really been taken into account. And so while I had blood work done often, they hadn't actually screened for the things that show up as the autoimmune markers in the disease that I have, or maybe now don't actually have. So I'm gonna go soon for the blood results of that. Um, but the really cool thing was is that he looked at every single thing and gave me research about how like the medicines that I'm taking, what happens with the hip joint, and then he asked me to take what's it called? A supplement um, of oils, like fish oils and stuff. And I'm plant-based. Um, And I was like, okay, well, because he gave me two different studies that showed that it would help the tissue in rheumatoid arthritis patients as well as patients with fibromyalgia. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm like, again, I don't when I'm plant-based and I do care about animals, I do care about the environment. It's very important to me. And I'm also not like hardcore in really anything. I'm very flexible and fluid. And so I was like, if this is going to help my joints, this pain in my body, I will try it for a few months. Let's give it a go. So I was prescribed a supplement and I had my medicine that's harming me reduced, and it's a little bit of a gradual process because it's a strong medicine, and it your adrenal system and your cortisol needs production needs to come back online because the medicine that I've been taking has been doing all that for me for the last long time. So I have to slowly integrate back into my life my own system versus the medicine. Mm. Anyway, um, that led me to that appointment was really, really hopeful and helpful. And I was like, this is why. And then it restored in me my ability to heal and reminded me that my body knows how to heal. My body knows how to heal, and it does. And through alternative practices like Reiki and breath work and meditation and like truly believing and repairing and finding that quantum healing that I know is possible because I've experienced it before. Connecting with that is going to be something that really helps me, and I know it. The other thing was that right around this time, I found what is called the Bean Protocol. And so I'm going to read a little bit because, again, I'm pretty new at this. But I found the Bean Protocol, and it was developed by Karen Hurd. She developed it out of pure necessity to save her baby daughter's life when the doctors basically had given up and they were like, there's nothing we can do. And she was like, she wouldn't accept that answer. And so she studied herself and figured it out really fast um, and saved her daughter's life. So the Bean Protocol is kind of like what it sounds like. You eat a lot of beans, and it focuses on the consumption of beans along with supporting foods like vegetables and salted nuts, but not at the same time, to promote hormone balance, reduce inflammation, and support overall health. It helps with, and there are, it's not, it's not medically recognized, of course, but thousands upon thousands of people she has helped heal, and so has this other lady. I think her name is Unique. Her name is Unique. I don't know her last name, but I'll link it in the show notes below. She's a coach for this. And these two women like popped into my life through a podcast that I listened to, and I was like, if they are helping people with similar conditions like autoimmune diseases heal totally and completely, women who can't get pregnant, have infertility issues, that unexplained infertility, this helps them and they conceive. If this could help me, I was like, okay, universe, I see this path, I'm following it. And so today, this day, I am starting the Bean Protocol. Hence why I'm drinking tea instead of coffee. So what I've learned from my little bit of research, I didn't get a coach yet, but I might. I'm just going to try it. I like to try things out and investigate myself first. This is just how I am and how I've always been. Um, I'm going to try it out myself first. But for an autoimmune condition like mine, my understanding is that a lot of it has to do with staying away from the things you're not supposed to have and increasing the things that you are supposed to have, like protein. And I was also talking to somebody else the other day about the difference of animal protein versus plant protein, and even if I would consider adding eggs into my diet for this term of the Bean Protocol. And I might, because if it can really help speed up my recovery, I'm already taking fish oils, might as well put some eggs in my body, right? And like, I know that it changes my vibration and that can be hard for me, but I figure if I like counteract it with blessings and I know the intention of why I'm eating this animal protein, then for me, I can make peace with that in my body. Even that makes me a little bit emotional because it's hard, but I'm like, you've been like cheating, I say, because it's cheating my body. It's not that I again, I'm not strict on I must eat this way, but I've been cheating my body on like eating some cheese and some sugar and some other junk in my life. And I'm like, why not cheat in a good way and make your body healthier? So I'm settling into this. I don't have any eggs today, but I might go to the store, buy some free range, organic eggs to eat over the week. Anyway, this Bean Protocol, it's 3 months long because what happens is it works with the cycles of mitoses, which is cell division. And it really focuses on the science of how our body clears out waste. I think my video froze there, so I'm going to say that again. It really focuses on the science of how our body clears out waste and how our body uses different things to optimize our health. And so with this, you consume beans with vegetables and a small amount of protein, but not fat at the same time, because the beans are fat soluble. And what they do is they bind to the bile that is in our well, it's in our gallbladder, but when it's in our intestines, it binds to the proteins there and it clears them out of your body. Proteins might not be the right word. I'm not the sciencey one on that part. I should probably get a little clearer, and I will. I'll make a reel of it so that it's clear. But the point is that eating the beans binds to the bile, and this carries the bile out of your system because our liver does a very good job of detoxifying our body on its own. The thing is that it uses the bile that's in our body. And so the bile keeps getting recycled, which keeps making us sick. But if we can actually clear the bile out of our body and our body will produce more bile, then we can help restore and regenerate our health. And so you eat beans, like small amounts, like half a cup at different times throughout the day, and or lentils, and you eat them with a vegetable, like half a cup of vegetables, and a small amount of protein, like a palm-sized amount of protein, so it says. And then you eat 1 cup of nuts, salted nuts, and they must be salted because they need the electrolytes in order to do the chemical reaction that's in your body. So they have to be salted nuts. You eat a cup of salted nuts once a day, or at least as long as it's an hour and a half apart from consuming the beans on both ends, because the beans will bind to the fat that is the nuts, and you don't want that to happen. So you have to eat the nuts separately from the beans. Also, like when you're you can eat a salad and have a little bit of oil dressing, but don't eat it with the beans because the oil in the will bind with the beans. So hopefully I'm making some sense. But again, I'll make a reel of it so it's super clear. Um, so this encourages regular meal intervals so that it also stabilizes your blood sugar. So you're not having those crazy swings of highs and lows and having trouble absorbing the nutrients in your body. It says that you will experience various benefits, including improved digestion, balanced hormones, increased energy levels, reduced inflammation, and weight management. Lots of people lose weight on this diet. Um, and so some people go, oh my gosh, beans, I can't eat beans. They give me gas. And I will link the podcasts below that I was listening to because it explains how it's not actually the beans that's creating gas in your body. It's the fermentation process that's happening in your body. And what helps things ferment? It's sugar. And so if you have any sugars in your gut, that's actually what is causing the gas. And so when you get the beans in there, it's not that the beans are what's causing you gas, it's whatever else is already in there that's now fermenting. That's what's causing you gas. So at first you can start with small amount of beans and and then increase and increase and increase. So for me, beans don't actually bother me at all, and lentils, some beans, like when I eat chickpeas, they sometimes do bother me, but maybe they don't entirely. Maybe it's just a combination of things I was eating with them. Who knows? We're gonna find out. But I'm going to be doing this bean protocol now because I am thinking that this has been the divine guidance that I need to get better. And it's going to help me get off my medication faster because I'm going to be letting my body heal itself at rapid speed. Um, and I'm going to be making informed choices. I'm going to make sure that it aligns with my specific health needs and goals. And so, like, the bean protocol can be a little bit different depending on your goals. But for me, I have to really avoid the things that inflame my body. And I know what they are. And it's so silly that, like, I don't just automatically avoid them, but I'm human and we have an addictive brain. And we have that lizard brain that kicks in, like the ancient brain, and I eat things like sugar sometimes, and that inflames my body so hard. And I need to cut out things like sugar, coffee, um, coconut oil particularly, it's super bad for us. It's been touted as like a healthy thing, but it's really healthy for our outside body. It's terrible to put into our body, and we just shouldn't be doing it. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to be just really, really focusing on my health and cutting out a bunch of things that would normally be rather harmful for me. Um, and I'm going to be focusing on a regular bedtime, which is also hard for me. Waking up, I wake up at the same time every day, regardless of how much sleep I get. But I'm hoping that I'll start getting about 7 hours of sleep a night. I'm going to be, yeah, I'm just going to be working on getting better and like healing from the inside out, letting my cells regenerate because my body knows how to heal. My body knows how to heal. And so, in all of this, I am going to make sure that I that I am kind and gentle with myself, that I take the time that I need for me. And I know that in doing this, it will help me serve my community better because, like, if I'm better and I fill up my cup, everybody else benefits. And the other awesome thing is that actually during this time, so this Wednesday, um, and actually this is the perfect segue into me wrapping up my podcast episode for today. This Wednesday, I am starting Summer Breathe Easy, and it is a 4 week guided breathwork, meditation, and hypnotic journaling program that is going to help you align with your inner sunshine. And I am so freaking excited to host this program. It is online. There are four 90-minute sessions, and we start this Wednesday. It's from 6:30 to 8 this Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, it's from 7 to 8:30. Um, and all the details will be linked below. There are 6 spots remaining in the program. And so if you see this, hear this, and you're feeling called to join, you are most welcome. Come and join me. It is an investment of 222 US dollars, or it's roughly 70 KD if you are in Kuwait with me. And I would love to have you inside this program because you are going to have such a transformation in just 4 weeks. And I know that it's possible because I've experienced it myself. And I'm so encouraged to guide you through this and to help you live your best life, manifest the summer of your dreams. Each session will include breath work, meditation, hypnotic journaling, time for some questions and answers and reflection discussion pieces. And there will be special bonuses like oracle card readings. There's going to be some human design readings as I'm getting into more and more of that. There's going to be some channeled messages when they come to me. I always share them with you. I will show you even some of my fun things that I do, like dowsing, where I use my pendulum and my Bovis scales and like check the vibrations of things. You are going to get so much inside this container. And so if you're thinking like, oh, that sounds nice, maybe, but then like you're on the fence, talk to me, reach out to me, let's chat. It's a couple days away. And also, the other great thing is you get the recordings. So you get to keep them forever and ever and ever and go back to them. And you can do them again and again and again and just keep reaping the benefits of this program. So I really hope that you join me, and I will see you inside that. And actually, an extension of the invitation is if you want to join me on this bean protocol, you're more than welcome to. We can be accountability partners. We can share stuff, recipes, anything. And I'm so happy if you would like to try and join me. It is a 3 month protocol. I'm going to give it my darndest. And like, I know that there's going to be a lot of temptations along the way, especially with it being summer and me traveling and all of that. But I feel like I'm so committed to my health right now that like it'll be very easy. I say that with like hesitation, but it'll be very intentional for me to say, no, I'm doing this for my health. I don't want to have hip surgery. I don't want to have to like put my body through that. So it's the intentionality behind all the things that I'm doing right now. And even yesterday, I had a divine download of understanding my purpose in life, and I will share that with you soon and in another episode because it's coming. And I shared with my friend yesterday about it, and he was like living for it. And so I'm just so grateful that all of this stuff is happening right now in this here moment, and as if. I take all of these things together. I see the signs from the universe. I'm so trusting and following, and I'd love to share that with you. I'd love to share this energy with you and share what I know with you. Um, yeah, so reach out to me, click the links below. Um, and if you're listening to this podcast and you think like, hey, I want to talk to you about any of this, and you'd like to be on an episode with me and have a conscious conversation, DM me, email me at namasteplantbased@gmail.com, or reach out to me on Instagram at namasteplantbased, and it's NAMASTEPLANT, Namaste Plant Based. So reach out to me and we can talk about this because that's what I love to do. I love to share. I love to chat, as you can see. And I'm just so grateful that you came today and that you listened to this podcast. So thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me. This podcast wouldn't be possible without listeners like you who are supporting me. So please, if you liked what you listened to, I'd love if you would leave me a review and rate the podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, because the more that you do share, the more that it goes up in the ratings, and that means the more people it can reach and impact their lives. Yeah, so please feel free to share and spread the love. I look forward to seeing you next time on Heart's Home. And for today, the light in me sees and honors the light in you. Thank you for sharing this beautiful morning, night, afternoon, wherever you are with me. From my heart to yours, namaste and peace out. And that concludes another episode of Heart's Home. I hope you enjoyed this episode and feel inspired to take action in your own life. And if you're not already following me, and even if you are, it would be great to stay connected. You're invited to follow me on Instagram at Namaste Plant Based, and even follow the podcast's new account at heart.s.home, or email me at namasteplantbased@gmail.com and say hey. I always love to hear where listeners are from, what you are up to, and get to know you more. You can also find me on YouTube at Namaste Plant Based, where you can like, subscribe, and share my videos to help spread the word about my mission to live and help you live a joy-filled life and to savor each moment, living for the here and now, showing you that life's meant to be this awe-inspiring gift. That's why it's called the present. I aim to sprinkle and share positive vibes as I explore this amazing and beautiful world and this awesome human experience, reflecting on and growing through the journey of life, connecting and uplifting others through sciences and spirituality, and the practices and principles of yoga and Reiki. It is my hope to share and connect with other soul beings in this lifetime, encouraging you to connect with your own personal wisdom, healing abilities, inner divinity, and expansive potential. If any part of this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. Take a screenshot of the timestamp of the part that really spoke to you and share it on any of your socials, tagging me at Namaste Plant Based and the podcast at heart.s.home. Or drop it into my DMs and let's start a conversation. I'm always eager to connect with listeners and learn from your experiences, your insights, and your feedback. So don't be shy. Share your thoughts with me. This is an entirely independently run podcast, which means that every bit of outreach, every bit of feedback, and every bit of support makes a huge difference in supporting me to produce high-quality episodes for my community. And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on YouTube, and leave Heart's Home a rating and review on podcast platforms. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me to continue to create empowering and enlightening content for this community. And if you're listening on podcast platforms, please leave a rating and review. It really does help me to reach more listeners and become more visible through the searches. If you feel called, you can even reach out to me for working with me on the creation of future episodes of this podcast. Or maybe you even consider making a donation to help me cover the costs of production. All ways and avenues of encouragement and support are so gratefully and graciously accepted. Thank you in advance. Also, if you're interested in taking your journey to the next level, I offer one-to-one breathwork, meditation, and Reiki healing sessions, distant and close by, private coaching containers, and group programs. My upcoming Heart's Home 2.0 group program starts in September, and the waitlist opens soon, so stay tuned for that. I also have holistic wellness and Reiki retreats on the horizon. And for those who prefer to learn and grow from the comfort of their own home, most of my offers are online. So you've made it to the right place. If you're ready to take the next step of your holistic wellness journey, you're invited to connect with me by sending me an email or a DM. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this transformational adventure. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. From my heart to yours, namaste and peace out.